There are many things that China is known for. Take for example the ever-standing Terracotta Army, the Great Wall that offered protection in times of war, ancient temples full of mysteries and spooky things. But there is one thing that came out of this revolutionary country that, to this day, is kept into people's hearts. And that person is none other than Jackie Chan. A man that needs no introduction. You have seen him in Rush Hour, you have fought with him in The Drunken Master, and he even had one of, if not the most important role in animation, as the monkey from the Kung Fu Panda franchise. But I bet you didn't even know that he was involved in a video game. And that game is the topic of discussion for today's video, called JackieChan Stuntmaster for the PS1. A game that I never really got to finish when I was a kid because in the early 2000s there seemed to be a global shortage of memory cards for some reason, so every time I used to play it I would only play the first few levels and that's about it. I would go on with my life. And guess what? Today is your lucky day because we are gonna review the game and see if it holds up to today's standards, where we can't really focus for more than 30 seconds. The numbers 6 and 7 are somewhat funny, and people above the age of 60 really, truly believe that this is real. Because why not? You have nothing better to do. I definitely have nothing better to do. So sit down in your comfy gamer chair and let me slap you with some nostalgia. From back when your only worry was that they gave you the correct toy in your Happy Meal. The game opens up with a cinematic where Jackie's uncle gives him a package that needs to be delivered to the Shaolin Temple. Mind you, he has already several trucks ready to go out, but for some sick and twisted reason he forces him to deliver this by hand and personal. While Jackie gets suffocated under hundreds of kilos of Amazon packages, we get the first glimpse of the main antagonist.
Okay, boss, we're on to it. We'll get it and bring me the old man.
My boy here has the voice of Shredder, but his character design, it's closer to Steven Seagal than anything else. We then cut to our protagonist enjoying a very succulent Chinese meal when, out of a sudden, a car stops right outside the place. Inside the car there's a group of well-behaved citizens that are trying to help Mr. Frederick get to his house. However, he starts showing signs of early dementia, so they take him to the closest hospital as fast as they can. After that, we are graced with one of the most dynamic and well-animated sequences that I have seen in a PS1 cutscene. It really drives the point home and it makes you feel like you're actually playing a Jackie Chan game. Everything then stops in an alley, which will also become our stage selector for the rest of the game. The game is then separated in 5 levels. You have Chinatown,
I want to be ninja.
the docks,
Pokemon Go!
Poissy, reine. Poissy, reine.
the sewers, the fabric, and finally, the rooftops. The zones are usually divided into 3 parts, with a boss at the end of every last level. Chinatown is a very interesting part of the game. It's actually quite colorful and I really dig the aesthetic that they were going for. You have neons and back alleys and everything, it's somehow dark and still has very good lighting. They really managed to do so much with the hardware that they had. I know that the PS1 was not the strongest console graphics wise, but they really make you feel like you're in Chinatown, which for me really sells the game. The first enemy that I encountered had so much aura that I was really considering if I should fight him or not. But, you know, Mama didn't raise any quitters, so I just had to break his neck with a flying kick. Inside the room, one of the wet bandits was so eager to greet me that He actually forgot we're enemies, so I made sure to welcome him with a 1-2 piece combo. Jackie then demonstrates how to break your whole spinal cord by landing on some very comfy wooden barrels. After disposing of a few thugs, we are greeted by a truck that is really eager to isekai us into a very boring world full of fanservice and lollies. However, we do not appreciate that genre and we escape by only wetting our pants a little bit. The last room has 3 enemies. 2 of them are very brave warriors that like to fight challenges head on. And the other guy is a scumbag that likes to see his colleagues beaten up by a single guy. Utterly disgusting. And that concludes the first level. The second level has Jackie following a guy that very rudely throws a couple of boxes to stop us from giving him a fist sandwich. Now, you might be a very highly wanted criminal, but this is just going too far in my opinion. That builds up Jackie's anger and in a fit of rage, he starts beating up the hardworking people at a nearby restaurant. Now, these people were not even part of that gang, they were just protecting their family business. Nonetheless, whatever Jackie wants, Jackie takes. Beating so many innocent people makes Jackie very, very thirsty. Thankfully, he finds a coke dealer that is very willing to sell him some. So, with a very condescending hand gesture, he tells him to follow. Unfortunately, this is a trap set by the truck from before, so our hero will not be able to quench his thirst for now. Jackie then finds himself at a dead-end street, so he decides to ask for directions. However, these gentlemen thought that his accent was a bit funny, so they proceed to beat the filling out of his bao buns. With a few ribs broken and his will still unshaken, Jackie finishes the second level. The last level is pretty straightforward. Beat up some thugs, get run by a car, almost get run by a second car. Show off your gamer skills. And commit war crimes. After that segment, we have our first encounter with the boss fight. It is fairly easy, this enemy only has a couple of moves. In terms of Smash Bros, he has a very strong but easy to dodge down B, a grab that makes him invulnerable to damage, and a pretty interesting neutral. However, he has one weakness, continuous hits to the head with an iron pan. It might be a very controversial take, but he might be even worse than Ganondorf. For the sake of not making the video too long, I'll try to compile the 3 levels into one big part. The dogs are especially dangerous because of one important reason. They have citizens from the French kingdom. What makes them so lethal is their guerrilla warfare tactics and their resilience to do whatever it takes to obtain their objectives. There was a mini-boss somewhere around the first level that gave me a bit of trouble. My primate brain did not seem to understand the intricacies of dynamics at that point. Other feats from this level include murdering an innocent man and getting rid of the weapon, drowning 1/4 of the French population, and getting hit by a drunk driver again. I have also noticed that he does a silly little dance whenever enough blood has been spilled by his enemies. There are only a few couple of moments that I wanted to bring out for this level. The first one being how these enemies just keep getting hit by the same thing over and over again. The second one is this good old sailor doing unspeakable acts of hedonism to himself. And last but not least, this chip shot by a box. Now for this boss fight I'm not even gonna say anything, just because I believe this banger of a song alone says everything. As old games tradition has it, there always needs to be a silver level. And this game is no exception. As you might remember, we went from beating restaurant workers and baguette wielders to genetically engineer the homeless people. And I'm pretty sure that this guy right here is supposed to be Bane, but I am yet to confirm that. But everything pales in comparison with the biggest danger down here, which is the platforming. It is as stinky as the poo water that Jackie falls in when he dies. Don't get me wrong, I love myself a good death, but having to wait half an hour for the loading screen to yet go back to the place that I died to die again is not really funny and makes me moderately upset. You would think that nothing else could make it worse. You're wrong. The Train Nation appeared. I think of myself as a decent enough gamer, but oh boy, this section made a fist and decided to vigorously demonstrate why you should pay your toll when you're traveling by public transport. The boss is what I can only describe as the Timu version of Itadori and Todo, meaning one delivers punches and domestic abuse, and the other one claps you. There's nothing really to point out about this boss, besides the fact that it kind of reminds me of all the times that my dad would ask me to memorize the multiplication tables, and I will still fail to understand that 2 times 2, it's 5. The rooftops is another visually appealing level in my opinion. It is from this point on that we can see that the game starts to get a bit harder. And it's not from new mechanics or the enemies are tougher, it is again because of the platforming. Also, huge missed opportunity by not putting the ninjas inside the sewer levels. Like, really, no one thought about it. Like, it was right there. It was so close, but they decided not to do it. To be honest, I kinda speedrun this level a little bit. I was trying to avoid fighting at any cost and I was trying to advance as much as I could. So there might not be a lot of things to say about this part of the game. However, I will try my best to find a few funny things here and there. Like this one, where Jackie almost dies because he gazes upon a pair of boobies.
Slow down, baby.
Also, the other type of enemy from the level is that one guy that is very into family and drives cars in a furious manner. What was his name? Let's see. Oh yeah, Vin. But no punches compared to the power of gravity. And oh boy, she hits like a truck. I am ashamed to say that I have died way more times than I want to admit. But as one of the greatest motivators of the 21st century once said, watch your back, but more importantly, when you get out of the shower, dry your back. It's a cold world out there. Not sure if he said anything remotely similar to this, but it does go hard. There is something that you could consider new in this level. For some reason, it is only used here and nowhere else in the game. As you can see, it's this short segment where you have to choose the correct path to get to the exit, and if you don't, you go back to the beginning. I thought it was pretty interesting, pretty neat. From the moment you enter the boss arena, you can tell that this guy is gonna be trouble. He even seems like he doesn't really want to fight, he just wanna be dancing. But this is just a mechanic on how to defeat him. I believe he's the only boss that actually has a mechanic. Unfortunately, when I was playing the game, my galaxy brain didn't notice the first time, so I was just brute forcing my way around it. So I was grabbing this man's disco balls every time I had the chance and making him one with the dance floor. Unfortunately, he was as slippery as a snake in an oil barrel. By the time that the fight was almost finished, I was really considering to forgive this guy. But he decided to disrespect me and I just couldn't let that go unpunished. I can't let the streets know that I'm a soft guy. The level ends with our uncle yelling something about the package and us jumping straight into the helicopter that he's in. Now boys and girls, keep your protective gear on you at all times because this is gonna be a very bumpy ride. At last, Jackie finds the stolen truck that they took from them. Luckily enough, it is situated right next to the big ominous building with a big D at the top, which is our last stop too.
Are you doing this? Quite simply, old man, because I can. I have such few pleasures in life these days. Sometimes it's the little things that make me smile.
We also find the bad guy's motive for doing all this, and it's basically because he's just bad. Yep, that's all. He's a big old meanie and a bit bored too. But just when he was about to show us how much of a maniac he is, Jackie appears with a package. And with both parties face to face, it is now time for the final battle. The fight is a bit underwhelming, if I'm being honest. I like that he has a similar moveset to the one that they gave to Jackie. And he also hits like a drunk father on a Saturday night. Another thing that's unique to him is that whenever he feels like he had enough hits to the head, he would invoke this laser beam onto us. But it can be interrupted if you just hit him before. I really wish that there would be something else to talk about this fight, but there isn't really, unfortunately. Similar to the other bosses, you just keep hitting him until his life bar goes away. So besides the laser beam and his moveset, there isn't really anything else to talk about. So yeah, that's about it.
You did it, Jackie. Oh, I didn't doubt you for a second. Now, untie by me before I lose the circulation in my hands!
As old movies and games tradition has it, the bad guy is never dead until he is. After feeling a bit shy because his man boobs were showing, we destroy him for good by giving him one of the worst imaginable deaths possible. Finally, Jackie and his uncle get reunited, and after stealing Mr. Dante's worldly possessions, they get into a truck and the credits roll.
I'm hungry. How about something to eat?
What's the matter with you? You got a tapeworm or something? If you don't come eating on that, you're gonna puff up like a puffer fish.
Or does it? Ooh. I didn't mention this, but if you collect all the golden dragons, you get a sneak peek into the makings of the game. And if you have watched his movies, there are even a few bloopers that they have animated here and there. So you can tell that a lot of thought and care was put into this game. There are also a few bits of an interview done by the producers to Jackie himself where he gets to answer a few questions. And there is one question in particular that he answers that really resonated with me, which is the following.
Look at me. I never done this before. I want to try, see what happened. And also, you know, the game and the computer, you never get old. Then I can see myself on the computer for long, just stay on my age. I can get old, but the computer never get old. So I think I better keep my movement. Maybe something I can move today, cannot move 10 years later. Then keep my movement, keep my acting, keep my humor, everything put in the computer. Then one day, just like a memory. It's a game, can show to the audience, and can give the kids to play, and also can keep the memory for myself.
Believe it or not, this was one of the reasons why I started this channel. It is true that one day everyone will die, and if the movie Coco showed us something, is to never forget the people that we love. So this would be my way of being remembered, basically. And if someone crosses upon this video in 100 years or so, and they find it mildly interesting and funny, then that would be enough for me. I would at least have something that would live on when the flowers would bloom on top of me. Oh boy, this got a bit dark out of the sudden. What I'm trying to say is that it just feels nice to have something that would be there for the times that you're not there anymore. So as always, thank you for taking your time to watch this video, and hopefully we will see each other in the next one.